Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Buckets and Birdies podcast.
Buckets and Birdies is a weekly glimpse into the worlds of basketball and golf.
We'll also balance national sports trends with ACC insights
and provide a lens of notable happenings of sports in our home state of North Carolina.
Two friends and industry professionals getting together to bring you 23 minutes of fun each week with shared experiences around buckets
and birdies.
He's Carter Bills, sports agent and seasoned consultant in the golf space.
Joining me on the mic is national champion, Tar Heel great, Marcus Ginyard.
Welcome to Buckets and Birdies. Welcome to another episode of the Buckets and Birdies podcast.
It's Tuesday evening, February 3rd, 2026. Welcome to February, Marcus, which would make it Friday, February 6th, when this is coming to our listeners.
That's right, because our new episodes drop every Friday at high noon.
Thanks to everyone for catching up with us for 23 minutes of Buckets and Birdies.
We appreciate you.
And as positive people who like positive things, we'll start today, as we start always, with the quote of the day. And today, Marcus, it's light yourself on fire with passion, and people will come for miles to watch you burn. And that was John Wesley. And this week, we can get right into it with straight off the top, Marcus. It's Carolina Duke week. There will be passionate people coming out of both corners.
Let's go! You're right.
Carolina Duke week, baby.
It's going to be a wild one, man. It's going to be a wild one. This is the best week of the year. One of the best weeks of the year. I'm super fired up for this weekend. A lot going on in college basketball, but nothing means more than this game this weekend, man. So fired up for it.
I love it. When you hear that, Marcus, Carolina Duke, what do you feel? Where does it take you back to? What does it mean to you?
Man, I get chills, man. I get chills thinking about it. It was, one of the most incredible experiences that I've ever had to get to play in that game, so many times. Of course, was on both ends of it, wins and losses, but just the energy, the excitement around that game, the history of that game, the tradition behind that game. It's just one that everybody talks about. You know, Coach Williams used to always say that everybody knows, the local rivalry games, who wins those, but the whole world knows who wins the Duke Carolina game. So just exciting to think back all those times being out there on the court and fighting with my brothers out there. But looking forward to seeing the Heels in action on Saturday.
I love that from Coach Williams. The whole world knows who wins the Carolina Duke game. And I love to say it's the greatest rivalry in all of sport. I want to be cognizant that there are other sports and other passionate fan bases around the world. You have played basketball around the world, Marcus. Where does the Carolina Duke rivalry rank for you?
Yeah. I've been very fortunate to see a lot of those, big time rivalries. And again, just like you mentioned, most people are going to say that theirs is the biggest, right? The Red Sox and the Yankees, they're going to make their case. Having spent some time in Greece and watching Panathinaikos play against Olympiacos, those guys are going to say that rivalry is the best.
Right.
Recently been seeing some clips, I think, online as people have been talking about this generally and broadly that, European fans, and how crazy they are. I think a lot of people have been seeing in Belgrade, seeing Partizan and Red Star. That's a huge rivalry that gets really heated over there. So a lot of crazy rivalries out there in the world. But again, I'm very biased. For me, Duke Carolina is just the most special rivalry out there.
I think so too. And it makes me think, Marcus, you're starting to list some. It makes me think, who are the best rivalries in all of sport? And if I were to hit you with five, I'll hit you like this, and then you tell me what you think. If I were to go the five best rivalries in all of sport, certainly in North American sport, I would go number 5, Celtics-Lakers. I think having 1 and 2 in championships in the NBA and the battles that they've faced in the finals is really special at the professional level. So number 5, I'm going to go Celtics-Lakers. Number 4, I'm going to go Kentucky and Louisville. I love college basketball, as you know. I think Kentucky and Louisville doesn't have the year in, year out that Carolina Duke has, the consistency of excellence. But if there's another one in our sport, it's probably close.
Okay.
I'll say third, I'm going to go Yankees Red Sox. I think I've been to a Red Sox game, I've been to a Yankees game, but I've never been to a Yankees Red Sox game. But being around a lot of these fans, working with a lot of the fans of each franchise, man, there's some passion. And that's on the to-do list. We should get to a Yankees Red Sox game.
Add to the list, man. We got a good list going right now, man.
Good list. So number 2 for me, I'm going Ohio State Buckeyes, Michigan Wolverines. Have not been to that game either. I've seen both stadiums. I've not been privileged to go to a game at either, but that would be on the list as well. And number 1, I'm going to go Carolina Duke, man. There's nothing like it.
Bring it home, man. I like it. I'm with you though. Let's add all those to the list, man. Would love to do all those.
Yeah,
Michigan, Ohio State sounds pretty nice right now. That'd be good.
yeah. It'd be something to do. Check them off. And I think with us both agreeing that Carolina Duke is the best rivalry in all of sport takes us really nicely into our bucket section this week, Marcus. And we will start off as we have with the past few episodes with the game, Which Bucket Getter Am I? So
Okay.
today, on the episode where we're focused on Carolina Duke, I'm going to give you examples of stat lines of two bucket getters in the Carolina Duke rivalry over the years, and you tell me which bucket getter am I.
Okay.
All
So
right,
I
the
only got two
first one,
schools to choose from, right? So that's good, right?
we've
That's
narrowed it
helpful.
to two schools. All right, Marcus, player one. For their career, they played 8 games in the Carolina Duke rivalry. They averaged 24 points, 12 and a half rebounds. They personally went 6-2 in that rivalry and 4-0 on one of the home courts.
Sounds like Psycho T to me, man.
Tyler Hansborough, your teammate, you were there for each of those wins. You had a front row seat and often were passing him the ball or receiving the ball from Psycho T on the court. That one's Tyler
Uh,
Hansborough. Nice
did,
call.
did a lot more passing to him than getting the pass from him, and rightfully so. But yeah, my gosh, he was an absolute terror out there against Duke.
What experiences? I mean, talk about you guys as freshmen, right? A lot of you starting, Bobby and yourself and Tyler, and you go into Cameron and you get the win. Sheldon Williams and JJ Redick are all Americas. They're ready to celebrate senior night, and you guys said not so fast.
Carter, everybody asked me about my favorite games and biggest moments, et cetera, et cetera. And, obviously the national championship is one that everybody expects or would reasonably expect, us to mention. But quite honestly, man, that game in 2006, spoiling their senior night after them just beating us in Chapel Hill a week or two prior.
Right.
Um, our first time in Cameron as scrawny freshmen, not knowing what the hell to expect. And, coming out of there with a win was one of the most special nights ever. And shout out to Tyler, man. He had a hell of a game that game. All the freshmen played relatively well, if I remember correctly, and were called on very heavily that game. And just love that team's fight that game. I know it wasn't a perfect execution by any means, but we found a way to win and just kind of set ourselves up for future success over there.
Without question. And Tyler did have a great game, 27 points. Of course, I had to recall it. Do you know who was second on the team in scoring that game?
I don't.
None other than Marcus Ginyard. Marcus had
No
12 points
way.
that game, second in scoring for the Heels. Well done,
I
MG.
remember I had 12 points, but I didn't think I was the second leading scorer.
Second in scoring. It was really nicely distributed to your point. Everybody chipped in, a lot of 10 points here, 10 points there. Danny Green, another great player in you guys' class. You guys all did some great work.
Nice, nice.
All right, so player two in our Which Bucket Getter Am I section, Marcus, played their best season, 2 games in the rivalry. In those 2 games, head-to-head Carolina Duke, they averaged 24 and a half points and 21 rebounds in the 2 games. Coach Krzyzewski dubbed it one of the best individual season performances against his team in the history of the Carolina Duke rivalry.
Ooh.
Which bucket getter am I?
All right, so in his best season, so he plays multiple seasons, right? Is that
Yeah, context
like a
clues. That's good.
context
That's good,
clue there? And someone who lost to Duke, which most of us did.
yeah. Went 1 and
All of
1.
us did.
Yep.
1 and
That's
1.
right.
Those are big numbers, man. 21 rebounds. That feels like Rasheed Wallace or Stackhouse numbers. So I got to pick. Obviously, I know. Let's go. I'm going to go Sheed. That sounds like Sheed.
I love the Sheed pick. Obviously played more than 1 year, played 2 years. This was your guy currently on the coaching staff, none other than Sean May.
Big May. God,
Big
those are
May
big
rebound
numbers.
work against
Good
the
Lord.
Devils.
All
Yeah.
right, Big May.
Yeah, I think
Damn.
one game Marcus was 26 rebounds. The other, whatever that averages would have been 17, I think. So, and then had 28 points and 22 points respectively, something like that along the way, and big time numbers from Sean against the Devils in his junior year.
All right, Big May.
I
Damn.
don't think he got to play him his freshman year, right? He had a broken leg or foot or something. I think he missed some games.
Oh, you're right. A broken foot. You're right.
Missed some games and then came back sophomore year, and then junior year he was ready, and the Tar Heels obviously rode that to another big banner in the Smith Center.
Nice.
Well done. All right, 1 for
Sean
2,
May.
not bad.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
So as we dive into our bucket section, we think about our North Carolina and North Carolina schools game of the week. Last week we talked about State going to Wake Forest. Wake Forest continues to be a pest, but cannot quite get over the hump and get some wins. State, on the other hand, gets the win, and I think sits solely, Marcus, in third in the ACC. So the Pac all of a sudden have some nice momentum.
Very surprising. I mean, I don't want to say surprising, but interesting to see the Pac at 7-2 in the ACC making a strong, case for being a top team in the ACC. I mean, obviously are a top team in the ACC. Still got a little bit of time left to see where everybody ends up, but don't love that. I always like to hate on State a little bit, but they're showing that. But they didn't have a great, out of conference play, but they're certainly showing that they're here for the conference play, man. So shout out to them.
They are, and we talked about Wake seems like they can beat anybody. So it's not that Wake's not formidable. I think the league is just strong this year, and that was last week's game. No surprise, this week's game. We've talked about the Blue Devils coming to Chapel Hill again.
Let's go.
Round one of the 2026 edition of the greatest rivalry in North American sport. Marcus, what are you looking forward to as we think about the matchup, just besides the hype and the game and the spectacle that it is itself? How do you see the Blue Devils coming in pretty unscathed so far in conference, and the Tar Heels coming in, all of a sudden with 4 in a row in conference wins?
Yeah, I mean, Duke has made a very strong start and strong statement to their ACC campaign. Undefeated, have really shown that they can play, a style of basketball that's going to be really hard to beat. They're well coached. They're incredibly talented. They play together. They defend. They score the basketball inside, outside. They share the basketball. I think they move the basketball very well, and they're just kind of in position for everybody to take advantage of their skill sets and they're max. It looks like they're maximizing their potential out there, and again, just playing consistent. Carolina on the other side. I think we've been very inconsistent. I think we've shown flashes of greatness. We're clearly very talented, but we have shown moments where we lose a little focus, whether that's for 3 minutes or 10 minutes. We've dropped a couple that we probably shouldn't have, but at the end of the day, those are all moments for Carolina to grow, which I think is helpful in a big time game like we're going to see on Saturday to have gone through some tough moments, and whether you got out of them unscathed or not, you still kind of learn from some of those moments. So I think that'll be helpful for the team moving forward, just kind of knowing how important it is to stay focused for 40 minutes. But at the same time, when you pull all that together, Carter, you also got to remember this is Duke Carolina, man. So a lot of times you got to throw all that out the window and just know that when you throw that ball up on Saturday, because of the emotion, because of the history, because of all that going on, this game can go either way, no matter how well these teams are playing. So that's one of the things that makes this so exciting, and one of the reasons why this is one of the best rivalries. So on one end, you see the technical side, and you're like, man, it's going to be a struggle for Carolina because they haven't shown that they're playing at a high level consistently like Duke is. But then again, it's like, man, toss the ball up and let's watch some of these guys play. I mean, you got Vasar, you got Caleb Wilson, who is going to be fired up and ready to play this game. You've seen him and how he's taken these challenges very personally, so that's going to be exciting. And then you got Trimble too, who has been through this, who's got the experience for Carolina and can help guide his team through this. So, man, I'm fired up. I could not be more excited for this game on Saturday, and just can't wait for tip-off.
I can't wait for it either. And the Tar Heels, Marcus, have really been able to outsize a lot of people, right? We're a big team. Duke, one of the biggest teams in the country as well. So it's going to be an interesting matchup from that standpoint. I think Vesar and Caleb Wilson down low have really been able to have their way, even when we struggle with our shooting. When our shots are falling, we look like a whole different team, right? What did your Coach Williams, always said? It always looks a whole lot better when the ball goes in the hole. So when those that sounds like a Roy-ism, doesn't it? But
Totally.
When the shots are falling, we do look better, and we have some shooters. So hopefully we can put it together. But their size is concerning. I mean, Patrick Gongma down low, he reminds me of Malawak, right, of last year. I think Malawak a little taller and longer, but very similar, and he's a force down low. Cameron Boozer can do it all over the floor. We've talked about him. I'm interested to see, Marcus, how we match up. What is Coach Davis's strategy? I think to start the season, Stevenson played a lot of the three for us. He now seems to be coming off the bench and sort of rotating in the big spot in the 5 with giving Henry or Caleb a blow at the right time. So how do we match up? Who guards Cameron? Who guards Isaiah Evans? We talked about him in one of our previous episodes. I think you called him Slime, which was an appropriate Freudian slip. We meant
Yeah,
Slim.
sorry about that. I'm not sorry about it, but slip.
No, I kind of liked it. Isaiah's really good, though. You and I both know that. He reminds me of not as big, but kind of Brandon Ingram, right? Slim was the right vernacular there. He's long, and when he's not afraid to shoot, and when his shots going, they're dangerous because he just lets them fly. And so I'm interested. Okay, one of the Tar Heels' deficiencies has been how can we take some pride defensively, and how are we going to match up against them, and who's going to take pride on that side of the ball? Because Marcus, we know we can score.
Yeah, I mean, defense is going to be a key to this game, Carter. There's no doubt about that. We have not historically guarded the basketball very well, and we certainly haven't guarded the 3 very well. So, when you think about guys like Boozer and Evans who can really shoot the 3, we're going to be pushed to the max here, I think, in terms of our accountability on defense. And so Carolina's just got to find a way to, like you said, man, find that pride and match up in some pretty tough matchups. Who guards who? I don't know. I think there's going to be a variety of matchup changes out there. I don't even know where to start, quite honestly, because you have Big Boozer, out there running the point sometimes, right? And so,
right.
Who are we going to have out there in pick and roll situations out top? You're going to have to guard him inside, outside. I mean, I get stressed thinking about it, okay? I'm certainly glad that I'm not the one, putting these matchups and these defensive schemes together. But there's no doubt that that's going to be a huge thing on Saturday, defense and rebound, of course. We got to keep them off the glass. We got to keep them out of the paint. A lot of teams this year have gotten into the paint, have gotten second shots, but may not have capitalized on them. And Duke is going to do that. If they get offensive rebounds, they're going to score. If we turn the ball over, they're going to make us pay. If we give them open looks, they're going to knock them down, right? And so some of the mistakes that we've made in previous games that we may have been able to cover up, I think we're not going to cover up as well on this game. So it's going to take team effort, no doubt. I mean, I'm not going to say anything that anybody out there listening doesn't know, but we got to find a way to execute. And for 40 minutes, Carter, more than anything, 40 minutes. We've played some great stretches, but we got to put together a complete game, a damn near complete game on Saturday to put us in a good position to win this one.
That's it. What an opportunity to do it. Duke Blue Devils come to Chapel Hill to face the North Carolina Tar Heels 6:30 on Saturday in the Smith Center. Can't wait.
All right, Carter, as we transition from buckets to birdies, we go back to our game of picking a random year where you will tell us the men's NCAA champion and the Masters champion. Given that my favorite game is beating Duke at Duke in 2006, Carter Bills, your year is 2006.
All right, so 2006 would have been Florida. That was the first of their back-to-backs in the NCAA tournament. And the Masters champion for 2006, Phil Mickelson.
Bravo. I don't think I'm going to be stumping you anytime soon here, man, but as always, very impressive.
Good. Thank you.
All right, Carter, what else we got going on in the realm of golf?
Yeah, the PGA Tour just completed the Farmers Insurance Open out in La Jolla, California. Beautiful part of the world. Probably the best air I've ever breathed, Marcus. And Justin Rose, the 45-year-old from Great Britain, certainly enjoyed that air as he marched his way to a win on Sunday. Marcus, being one of only a handful of players to win at the age of 45 years old on the PGA Tour.
Man, I love all the old guys out there in sports making a name for themselves right now. I love it. Shout out to Justin Rose.
Yeah, Rosie's having a bit of a renaissance. He's, started playing really well again last year. I heard him saying out there on tour that he's just feeling really good and great about his game. With that win, a pretty strong field at Farmers, he was 10th in the world, already set pretty nicely as he had a good end to last season, propels himself all the way to 3rd in the official world golf rankings. So good on Rosie.
All right, Justin. Carter, it's time for Beyond the Box Score.
Everything Marcus and I talk about is Beyond the Box Score, but specifically each week, we take a look into at least one story from the North State Journal's Beyond the Box Score feature in the sports section.
The North State Journal is North Carolina's only statewide newspaper.
For more on the North State Journal, check out nsjonline.com.
All right, CB, what we got?
So this week, Marcus, former UNC quarterback and guard from the basketball team, Ronald Curry, is all of a sudden a very highly sought after coach in the NFL ranks. The coaching carousel has opened, as you know. We still have the Super Bowl to come up. We're still excited about Drake May, as we've talked about at large. But all the other teams are scrambling, trying to figure out who they're going to hire. And Ronald Curry has already interviewed for a couple of jobs, to include the offensive coordinator positions with the Broncos and the Jets, and apparently has reportedly been reached out to be the quarterback coach, or at least interview for that spot for the Baltimore Ravens. Very, very highly touted quarterback, as we know, and a former ACC standout, Lamar Jackson, former NFL MVP, Lamar Jackson. And Ronald Curry is really touted as kind of the quarterback whisperer, having helped get Josh Allen, already a great quarterback a couple years ago, into form to then go become an MVP last season in the NFL. So shout out to Ronald Curry, one of your Tar Heel brethren. Do you know Ronald? And tell us what you know about him.
Also, a Virginia guy as well. So we got the
Yes.
Virginia connection, we got the Carolina connection. Great to see, Carolina guys getting love out there and doing great things. Love to see that he's made a great name for himself in the NFL. I remember watching him at quarterback at Carolina. I remember seeing highlights of him playing basketball in Virginia coming up. He was from the south of Virginia. I was from the north, but anyway, we're both Virginia guys, so definitely know Ronald Curry, and just love that. He was one of those first two-sport athletes that I really got to lay eyes on, in high
Right.
level, two-sport athletes. So to see him play basketball and football was really cool. And just knowing how much talent it takes to be able to do that out of North Carolina. So shout out to Ronald Curry, and hopefully he lands in a good spot. That's going to be good for his career. Sounds like he's got some great options. But again, just love to see, our Tar Heel alums doing well out there.
And you and I have talked about Ronald before. People know the Deion Sanders and even the Julius Peppers, certainly the Bo Jacksons of the world as great athletes. I don't think the world necessarily all knows how special Ronald Curry was. But how about the little Hampton Roads area that he's from and the type of talent that's come out of there? And Ronald Curry might sit above all of them. You have Michael Vick from the area, same time, who said, listen, he was across town and I was in his shadow. Allen Iverson a few years prior to those guys still tipped the hat to Ronald Curry. National High School Player of the Year in football. National High School Player of the Year in basketball. McDonald's All-America Game MVP. And by the way, the 6'1 3/4 point guard Marcus won the slam dunk contest at the McDonald's MVP game that year.
I did not know that, but that is a hell of a stat line. Shout out Mr. Curry.
All right, Marcus, I think that's all for today.
Thanks as always for tuning in to Buckets and Birdies.
That's 23 minutes of our thoughts for you. For Marcus Ginyard, I'm Carter Bills.
We'll catch you next time.